So hello, welcome to the second day of experimental uh, research in experimental design in social science research. Okay, so let's start. Let's start. Okay, so in the meantime, let me share the screen. Yeah. Okay. So here you can see the drive that has been shared with you. We have books. So in the books today, I uploaded this book that I spoke about yesterday, The Lady Testing Tea. So this book I found and I have uploaded it. Please read this book if you want to enhance your knowledge on statistics. Secondly, in this book there is also a chapter on design of experiments. Please go through the book. Yeah, it's fantastic book. You should definitely read it. And definitely all these materials are there. So let's focus on the workshop agenda. So yesterday was the first day of the workshop, and we focus on basics of experiments, how an experiment has to be planned, how it has to be designed, how sample have to be chosen, and what are the steps, what are the procedures. So all these things we did cover about it. Um, so today, that is day second, April 27. So we are going to focus on case studies on experimental designs, data collection and statistics. Yeah, okay. So here, in the first session, that is from 6 to 7:30, here I'm going to take a case study, and which is a classic paper, and this paper is written by Albert Bandura, the person who is considered to be one of the best psychologists. So he has presented his experimental research. It's a fantastic paper which everybody should read it if you are thinking of designing your experiments. So the name of the paper is Transmission of Aggression through Imitation of Aggressive Models. And in the second part of the session, post break, that is at 7:45, again we are going to take a case study which will be relevant to the field of marketing, and it will uh, help you to understand the planning of the experiments and the statistics that are involved into it. And lastly, as usual, 9:15 to 9:30, we will take up the questions. Okay? Yeah. Okay. So let's begin. Let's begin. Let's begin. So I presume that uh, your issues and concerns related to yesterday's session, it is settled. Okay, and the recordings have also been shared with you. You can definitely go back and see those recordings. So today's session also recording will be made available to you. Okay. So let me start with the today's agenda. So today we are going to talk about a classic experiment, and I have named it as Experiment Case Study 1. Yes, and the name of the paper is Transmission of Aggression through Imitation of Aggressive Models. So in the research paper section, this paper has been shared with you. It's a very old paper. In fact, this study was conducted in 1961. But definitely, it's a wonderful paper. You should definitely read it. And when you read through the paper, you'll understand that how systematically the authors have designed this experiment, and how beautifully they have executed these experiments in a phased manner. So wonderful paper, you should definitely read it. And again, as I said, the paper is written by Bandura, Ross and Ross, 1961 paper, very old paper, but the design is still relevant. And the name of the journal is Journal of Abnormal and Social Psychology. Yes, and this experiment is very famous. It is known as Bobo doll experiments. So if I say Bobo doll, so Bobo doll is basically a doll which is inflated, and it's made of rubber. So if you kick it as much as you want, but it will not fall again. It will rise. Okay. So here you can see an image before you that there is a child, or there is a kid who is punching this Bobo doll. So let's understand what this experiment is all about. So let me begin. Yeah. So what I have done is that I have divided this paper into various sections and taken all important points which will help you to understand how to conceptualize a theory, or how to conceptualize an experiment and how to carry about it. So we are going to discuss this paper in length, total each and every facet. But here I've been very choosy. I've taken those points which are very, very important and which will help you to understand this particular paper. Okay. So let's focus on the introduction of this particular paper. So you can simultaneously open this paper and you can see it, but don't get lost. And because we are going to break this paper into various parts, and we'll see how experiment design is being conducted. Okay. So see, So there was an earlier paper by Bandura, and Bandura and Houston had written it, and they say that children readily imitate behavior exhibited by an adult model in the presence of the model. You see, children imitate behaviors not only of models but also their parents, their siblings, their neighbors, their friends, their peers. So children have a tendency of imitating behavior of others. Okay, and now this fact or this idea is supported by so many other studies. So Blake, Grosser, Rosenblatt, and they have shown that mere observation of response of a model has a facilitating effect on the subject's reactions in the immediate social setting. So what is the idea and what previous experiments are saying? So when somebody observes somebody, or let's say one person observes another person in the immediate social setting, you see a lot of social learning happens, or for that matter observational learning happens. So we also learn by observation, so yes, if you see the response behaving in a particular way, definitely you will learn in that particular way. Yes. So you remember when if you remember when we all were in our school days, so the first day when we were taken to the school, everybody was crying, and also we started crying. So that is what the effect of effect on you when you see others cry. So that happens particularly with the kids. Kids observe and then they learn, and they start imitating people's behavior. Okay. So now a more crucial test of imitating learning involves the generalization of imitative response pattern to a new setting in which the model is absent. See, normally we see a model, we imitate that model, yes, and let's say if the model is removed, and so what will be the impact of the subject? So what the author intends to say that, so there is a child, and he is made to observe a model, and so the child observes the model, yes, okay, so the child will imitate. So now this child is taken to a new setting, and now the model is no longer there. So now how the child is going to behave? So initially the child learns from a model, and then this child is taken to a new setting, and there the model is absent, and there uh, uh, it is tried to and the researchers try to study whether in a new setting when the model is absent, is the child imitating the same behavior that he learned earlier. So that's why it says that a more crucial test of imitative learning. See, so far, the model of learning happened in the presence of the model. Yes, so model is there, model is behaving in a particular way. So the subject is also behaving in a particular way. But now here they intend to test a new model where they take the subject to a new condition, and they remove the model, and then they see the imitating behavior of the subject. Now in this study, the subject happens to be children, particularly nursery kids. So just go with the flow. So this is a case study. So we are going to analyze this paper. So in the later part, you will see that a lot of wonderful insights are there in this paper, which will be a good food for thought for you. So in the present experiment, children were exposed to aggressive and non-aggressive adult models, and were then tested for amount of imitative learning in a new situation in the absence of the model. So what this experiment is about? So children, they are exposed to two models. So one is aggressive model. When I say model, model means there is one human being, and he is behaving in an aggressive manner, and the kid is observing that particular model. So what is the idea? So if kids are made to see aggression, so definitely they will learn aggression, and they will become aggressive, So here in this experiment, children are exposed to two experimental conditions. One is the children are made to see the aggressive model, and in second, the children are made to see a non-aggressive model, which is a passive model, and then they are tested for the amount of imitative learning in a new situation in the absence of model. So once kid learn from the model, then they are taken to a new situation, and there the model is not there, and there in a new setting, the researchers are studying the imitative behaviors of children. So actually they are studying the phenomena of social learning or observational learning, particularly on kids. So they want to test whether kids learn aggression. Now I'll give an interesting example. Now we all watch televisions, we all watch movies. Don't you feel that when we watch televisions or when we watch movies, it has certain effect on us, on our behavior? See, particularly when you go to colleges and schools where teenagers are there, you'll find that they behave in a very crazy way, and sometimes you can just make it out that maybe it's an influence of movies. So now not only influence of movies, but people watch so many things. They surf social media, they see their Instagram, and they see their Facebook and the Snapchat, so many things. So people see, and then they learn. So now how to test it, that observation has an impact on learning? By the way, if I ask you what is learning, what could be your idea of learning? What is learning according to you? If I ask a definition of learning, or let's say if I ask you what the meaning of learning, what is learning according to you? Anybody, the floor is open. What is learning, by the way? Hello, what is learning? What is learning? Hello, hello. So I'll tell you. So permanent change in behavior, or cause due to experience. Permanent change in behavior caused due to experience is learning. This is what psychologists define learning. So if your behavior is changed in a certain way, and due to your experience, then that is learning. Normally I give this example, and it's a very colloquial example, a very local example, that breakup in life is wake up in life. People say that breakup in life is wake up in life. Now when suddenly a breakup happens, so people learn, people start auditing themselves, people start self evaluating themselves, and then they acquire a certain new set of behavior, because it is said that a burnt child dreads the fire. A burnt child dreads the fire. बोलते हैं ना, दूध का जला छाछ भी फूक के पीता है. So this is nothing but we are talking about learning. So if your behavior undergoes a permanent change, and if it is because of experience, we say that learning has taken place. So now in this experiment, Bandura and his associates, they are trying to understand whether kids, when they see certain aggressive models, so do they imitate those models? So if they are imitating those models, it means learning has taken place. But now in this experiment, the kids are taken to a new circumstance, they are taken to a new situation, and there the impact is tried to see. In fact, this is not the only experiment which Banduras have done, and they have conducted a series of experiments. So this is one of the classic experiment which became very famous, and Bandura, he was reckoned as a important psychologist, or a very important person who made eminent contribution to the field of psychology, and he became very popular with these experiments. So I took these popular experiments in order to make you understand that how an experiment has to be designed. Okay. So any questions you can ask me, you can stop me. If anything that you want, please stop me. I'll be happy to address. So now, according to the predictions, subjects exposed to aggressive models would reproduce aggressive acts. Is that clear? Yes, if a subject is made to see an aggressive model, he is going to behave aggressively. And he would differ from subjects who observed non-aggressive models. So those who are witnessing aggressive models, they are going to behave aggressively, and those who are made to see non-aggressive models, they will be slightly, or they will be passive. They will be passive. And third is, and from those who had no prior exposure to any models. So here in this stanza, you can see I have marked three things in red. So subject exposed to aggressive model, this is one experimental condition. Second, subject who observed non-aggressive model, second experimental condition. And third, who had no prior exposure to any models. So here you have three groups. Group 1, there will be children, and they will be made to see aggressive model. Group 2, again children will be made to see non-aggressive models. And group 3, there will be no model. So can you tell me which is the experimental group and which is the control group? Anybody? Hello? So there are three groups. First is that group where kids are made to see the aggressive model. Second group, the kids are made to see the non-aggressive model. Third group, kids are not made to see anything. Anybody, come on. The floor is open. Yes.
So the third case where no, in first and second case it is the experiment, and the first case is control. In third case is control group.
Okay, your name is Sushil Kumar?
Yes, sir.
Okay, anybody else would give a try? Sushil says that first two groups are experimental group and the third one is control group. How many of you agree with Sushil? Let's hear from Mansi. Let's hear from Ayushi. By the way, Tanya is there? Tanya? Okay. Atul is there? Okay. Hello. Atul, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there, sir.
Okay. So according to you, there are three groups. So
Third group is the third one. What Sushil says.
third group is the control group. By
Yeah.
the remaining two groups are experimental group. Okay. Let's see it. Let's see it. Okay. Now see, the goal of the experimenters is simply not to study aggression in kids in three conditions, but they also want to see the influence of the sex of the model on the sex of the subjects. Is there an interaction? Means sex of the model. When I say sex of the model, let's say if the model means the role model, if the role model happens to be male, so if the role model is male, what will be the impact on female subject and what will be the impact on the male subjects? See, normally, let me give uh, explain this a little bit further. See, when I say aggression, this is a masculine behavior. Now, aggression is shown by girls also, but in any society, aggression basically it's a masculine behavior. So, what is the prediction? That if a male subject happens to see a male aggressive model, then the likelihood of the male subject behaving in an aggressive manner is going to increase. So male aggressive model will have an impact on male subject, and male aggressive model will not have that much impact on female subject. So here you're also trying to study the sex of the model on the sex of the subjects. Now let's flip the case. If the model happens to be a female, so let's say there is a female model and if she is behaving aggressively, so if a female model is behaving aggressively, then female subject might behave aggressively but male subject might not behave aggressively. So the author, apart from studying aggression in subjects, they also want to study the impact of the sex of the model on the sex of the subjects. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? So in the future slides, I have given the experimental design. When I show you those slides, things will become pretty clear. Hope we are on the same page. Hope we are on the same page. Am I making sense to you? Am I making sense to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. Say, please give me the feedback, give me the response. Yes, in between, so that we all are active and we all are alert. And let us be as interactive as possible. By the way, one of our participant is not there, Nikhil. Maybe he will be joining late. Again. Now, it is expected that subjects will imitate the behavior of the same-sex model to a greater degree than a model of opposite sex. So it means that if a subject is boy, he is going to imitate the male model, and if a subject is girl, so she is going to imitate the female model. So the sex of the model will have an impact on the on the particular sex of the subject. Yes, okay. So that is essentially the idea, which is the second hypothesis. Now, again, now since aggression being a highly masculine type behavior, boys should be more predisposed than girls towards imitating aggression. The difference being most marked for subject exposed to male aggressive models. So definitely. So again, as I said, aggression is a masculine behavior. Yes. So boys who see male aggressive model, they should be likely to behave in an aggressive way. So that is essentially the prediction. You remember now. Please remember this. Whenever you design an experiment, you should always make some guess. You should always make some prediction, and then try to check it. See, normally in an experimental design, As you all know that there are two groups. One is the experimental group and second is the control group. And in the experimental group, you bring the intervention. Yes, you bring the intervention. So whenever you bring intervention, you make a prediction. You make a prediction that if I bring this intervention in the experimental group, this might happen. And what might happen, that is essentially your hypothesis. Yes, okay. So definitely it is important that you should make a guess. So here the guess is that male model will impact aggression more in male subjects, and female model will impact aggression more in female subjects, and vice versa. So that is the prediction. And later on, when they collect the data, and this hypothesis will definitely be tested. Okay. So yeah, now it's very important. Now I want each one of you to be as attentive as possible, and I will ask lot many questions, and let me understand whether we are on the same page or not, or we are making some sense or not. Okay. So every paper where experimental work is done, or where experiments are designed, you will find that the authors will write in detail as to what steps and what process they followed in order to conduct these experiments. Yesterday we did focus on criteria of experiments. Yes, we focused on three criteria of experiments. Which are those three criteria? Which are those three criteria? Yes, first there has to be a control group and experimental group. Second, randomization, means subjects should be randomly allocated to both the groups, that is experimental and control group. Which was the third criteria? Yes, which was the third criteria? Hello, I'm not remembering. I want you to answer. Come on. Which was the third criteria? First, there has to be a treatment. There has to be a treatment. Now, in this Bobo doll experiment, can you tell me what is the treatment? Hello? In this Bobo doll experiment, transmission of aggression. Yes? What is the treatment? Come on. What is the treatment? Hello. What is the treatment?
The treatment is the type of behavior.
The type of behavior. What behavior, sir?
Sir, in one case it was aggressive, in second case it was non-aggressive behavior.
Okay. So, very good. So, the kids, or rather subjects, would be made to witness aggression. Now, aggression, it's a variable. Yes? Aggression, it is a variable. Now how do you measure aggression? Now, anything that can be measured can be managed. This is what Peter Drucker said, and we did talk about it. So now aggression, okay, let's talk about aggression. Definitely, there might be some technique of measuring aggression. Is that clear? Okay. But the important question is that aggression, what kind of variable it is? Is it a quantitative variable or a qualitative variable?
Sir, it is a qualitative variable.
It's a qualitative variable. Okay. Aggression, it's a qualitative variable. But now you are attaching number to this qualitative variable. So when you attach number to a qualitative variable, that comes into the area of quantitative. By the way, if you remember, experimental research are basically quantitative research, because you are trying to prove something through numbers. That's why experimental research comes under quantitative research. Yeah. Okay. So aggression. So experimental group, aggression will be shown, and control group, nothing will be shown. So we'll come to it. The future slides are very, very interesting. I want everybody to be as attentive as possible. So let's focus on the experimental design. So what's the experimental design? First, now one female experimenter conducted the study for all the 72 children. So 72 kids were selected for this experiment. And there was one female experimenter, and she knew the children. Is that clear? So all 72 kids, they are known by the experimenter. Now this is a very important variable. Now sometimes if the experimenter knows the subject, then in that case extraneous variable might set in. Now as a researcher, it is very important for you to remove the effect of extraneous variables or confounding variables on your variables of interest. So here is a female experimenter, and she knows all the 72 children. Okay, this is one point. Next, so subjects were 36 boys and 36 girls. Now you have a balance of gender. Now see how this experiment is planned, where you are studying aggression in kids, and you are in your sample there is 50-50 ratio, or 1:1 ratio. So 50% are male and 50% are female. So 36 boys and 36 girls. Okay. Now study aggression in both the gender. Study aggression in both the gender. That is important. Now subjects were divided into 8 experimental group consisting of 6 children. So 8 experimental group. Now just focus. There are 8 experimental groups, and in every experimental group there are 6 children. So 8 into 6 is how much? 8 6 are 48.
48.
So there are 8 experimental group, and in every experimental group there are 6 children. So 48 children. So 72 minus 48. If you 72 minus 48 comes 24. So 24 is your control group. Means your 72 number is divided into 3. So 24, 24, 24. Yes. So first 24, 24, 48, they are part of the experimental group, and the remaining 24, it is part of the control group. We'll see it. I have a beautiful diagram, and it will make wonderful sense for you, and you'll understand like anything. Now, groups were further divided into male and female subjects. So in every experimental group, there is a gender balance. So male and female are matched. Okay. Now control group consists of 24 children. So 48 children in experimental group, 24 children in control group. Now this control group, they had no prior exposure to the adult models and were tested only in the general situation. See, as far as experimental group is concerned, there you are bringing a model. So in first group, which is 24, you are telling the model to behave aggressively and making the kids see that particular model. So model in the first experimental group is behaving aggressively and kids are watching it. The model in the second experimental group is passive and kids are watching that model. And in control group, which is the other 24, yes, kids have no exposure to the model and kids' behavior is monitored. Their behavior is monitored. Okay, let's proceed further. So one male adult and one female adult serve as the role model. Now see, your hypothesis is also to understand the effect of sex on the aggression of, or you want to study the aggression of or you want to study the relationship of the models, aggressive model and their sex and their impact on the sex of the subject. Yes. So let's say if a male model behaves aggressively, what will be the impact on male model? So if a male model behaves aggressively, what will be the impact on female subject? Similarly, if a female model behaves aggressively, what will be the impact on male model? And if a female model behaves aggressively, what will be the impact on female subject? So here you also want to study the dynamics of the sex of the model on the dynamics of the sex of the subject. So even that you want to understand, which is your second hypothesis. So you are choosing your model wisely, one male model and one female model. You're choosing it wisely because you also want to understand the interaction of the sex of the model with the interaction of the sex of the subjects as far as their aggressive behavior is concerned. Okay. Now treatment, as rightly said, I think Atul sir said, what's the treatment? So treatment, half the experimental subjects, that is 24. Now just remember, experimental group is 48. Now 48 is further divided into 2. So half the experiment subjects were exposed to aggressive models and the remaining half, n equal to 24, they were exposed to models that were subdued and non-aggressive in their behavior. Hope it makes sense. So first 24 experimental group, the model is behaving in a very aggressive manner. And this aggression is towards the Bobo doll. Okay. Second group, again 24 in number, the model is subdued and non-aggressive, passive. Okay. And half the subjects in the aggressive and non-aggressive condition observed same sex model. Now again 24 is divided further into 12. So half the subjects in the aggressive and non-aggressive condition observe the same sex models. Yes, means 12 people will observe female model, and or 12 female subjects will observe the female model, and 12 male subjects will observe the male model. Yes, while the remaining subjects in each group view models of the opposite sex. So just relax and focus on this particular thing. Huh? So I hope this much is clear. Hello, hello. Hope this much is clear. So this is the experimental design. In your research papers, whenever you'll be doing experiment, you have to write a separate section on experimental design, and you have to explain in a systematic way that how you allocated your sample to various groups. And there you have to be as genius as possible, because lot many questions would follow as to how you divided your subjects into various groups. So now in this experiments there are 3 groups, 2 experimental group and 1 control group, and in that also there are further bifurcations, and you are monitoring behavior of all the subjects in relation to the sex of the model. So this is a very important aspect whenever you design an experiment. Now, yesterday I think Mansi was talking about that when you plan an experiment, it is easy for you to collect data very quickly compared to cross-sectional study or longitudinal study. But the catch is that in experimental design, you should be a wonderful planner. You should know to plan things in a very, very systematic way, because there are lot many variables which will impact the subject. There are lot many variables. So let's say if a female model is behaving aggressively. So if a female is behaving aggressively, no, so normally a male subject will not behave aggressively, because that aggression doesn't transfer from female to male subject. So even see, such careful things are taken into consideration. Now the question is, how do you get to know what is going to impact what? So the first thing is that it should be based on reason, logic, and analysis. And second thing is it should be based on literature. So if you read this paper, Transmission of Aggression, so there the authors have seen previous studies, and they have seen what are the stereotypes, and then they accordingly divided their subjects. Now many of us, if we happen to plan this particular experiment, we might not study the relation of the sex of the model with the sex of the subjects, and the transmission of aggression. We perhaps might skip it. But tomorrow when you write your paper and when you send it to the journal, or let's say tomorrow you're presenting your paper in some of the conferences, so people will raise lot many questions. So I'll tell you one interesting fact. So I happened to see some of the in my formative years, I went to study research in IIM Ahmedabad. So there IIM Ahmedabad has a wonderful practice, not only in IIM Ahmedabad, in most of the prestigious business school of India, that whenever a faculty writes a paper, or let's say he's about to send a paper to the journal or something, so they have a faculty session. So all faculties will sit, and the faculty will come and he will present his work in front of every faculty. So now when you are presenting your work in front of every faculty, so people are going to see your work in a very critical way, or they will raise lot many questions, and whatever questions they are raising, you should be able to answer it pertinently. So I'll tell you, just in the month of August, I had been to IIM Ahmedabad, and I happened to see faculty presenting paper, and it was an open forum. So somebody had planned an experiment, and he was presenting the experiments. So maximum question came as to how the experiment was designed, how the sample was chosen, and how the sample was divided into experimental group and control group, and what were the yardsticks. Yes, and how the control variables, which happens to be the confounders, how they were addressed. Because whenever you plan an experiment, there are so many extraneous variables which will act as a confounding variable. So how do you address all those things? So these are some of the important considerations that you should be mindful of. Yeah, okay. Hope any query, any concern, any question? Hello. By the way, exciting slides are there, don't worry. So let me break this paper. This is simply not putting the fact on the PPT slide. So there are some interesting slides that will be coming, and your analysis would be tested. Any question per se? Any question? Okay, should I proceed?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir,
sir.
please.
Okay. So now just think, in this experiment, Bandura's experiment, what could be the confounding variable? Now you are studying aggression from the model to the subject. Now, what could be the confounding variable? What could be the confounding variable? What could be the confounding variable? See, okay, let's any rough idea or any vague idea. What could be confounding variable? So whenever you plan your experiments or design an experiment, think which variables can act as a confounding variable and how do you plan to address it. So here in this particular experiment, see how authors have beautifully identified that what could be a confounding variable and how they addressed it. So
I
let's
think,
focus on
sir, child friends or friend circle means
childs.
with whom child plays.
Okay.
That
Let's see
could
it.
be
Let's see it. Fair enough. Let's see. Let's corroborate it. What are the confounding variables? First, subject's level of aggressiveness would be positively related to the readiness with which they imitated aggressive modes of behavior. Now you see, certain kids are aggressive by nature. So don't you think that if certain kids are aggressive by nature, they will readily demonstrate aggression? Yes.
Right.
So see, now here, what are you trying to essentially test? Whether people are learning aggression from a model. What if somebody is already aggressive?
Okay.
What if somebody is already aggressive? Then that person will have a very high inclination of aggression. So now you have to bring all kids on par. All 72 kids you have to bring on par. Whenever you divide your sample into various groups, you have to ensure that there is some degree of parity among the sample in various groups, and then slowly you try to bring the intervention. Now, what if the kid is already aggressive?
Right.
Yeah, okay. So see how they plan to address it. So therefore, in order to increase the precision of treatment comparison, subjects in the experimental and control groups were matched individually on the basis of ratings of their aggressive behavior in social interactions in the nursery school. So now here you remember the experimenter, there is only one experimenter, and he knows the kids, or she knows the kids. So now, see, if you are teaching kids for good number of time, you can definitely make out that which kid is aggressive and which kid is not aggressive. And now, what if see, it can so happen that out of chance all aggressive kids could be in one particular group, which happened to be the experimental group, and there they will quickly learn the aggression of the model. Yes, and it can so happen that in a passive experimental group, all aggressive kids are there, and they even if they observe the passive model, still they would be aggressive. So somehow you have to control the pre-existing aggression of kids in all the three groups. So that's why that's why what the experimenter did. So they rated every kid. They rated every kid's aggressive behavior. So in all the social interactions, so you can easily make out which kids are aggressive and which kids are not aggressive, and that was mapped. And the subjects were rated on four 5-point rating scales by the experimenter and a nursery school teacher, both of whom were well acquainted with the children. So one nursery school teacher and the another one happens to be the experimenter. They rated all 72 kids on 4 5-point Likert scales. So there were 4 items, and based on those 4 items, they rated all the 72 kids, and accordingly they divided the kid which are already aggressive and which are not aggressive. Okay, so that they can do a perfect randomization later on. So these scales measured the extent to which subjects displayed physical aggression, verbal aggression, aggression towards inanimate objects, and aggressive inhibition, and provided a measure of aggression anxiety. So the experimenters, they measured the aggression of the kids, and they had an aggression anxiety score for every kid.
Okay.
So once you have the aggression anxiety score for every kid, then it is easy for you to accordingly divide these kids who are having aggression anxiety homogeneously across all the groups. So based on the composite score that was obtained by summing the ratings, subjects were arranged in triplets. So triplet means in a group of three. So 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, randomly they have allocated in all the groups and assigned to the treatment and the control group. Okay, hope it is making sense. Now comes the important slide. I want each one of you to be glued down. Now this is not found in the paper. This is the analytics one. Okay, so let's focus on the experimental condition structure in Bandura's paper, Bandura and Associates, 1961. So how many children were there initially? 72. So they selected 72 kids. Okay, you can call them kids, children or subject. Okay, so subject means they're children only. Just bear this in mind. So these 72 children were divided in how many groups?
3 groups.
So 24 children, they are made to see aggressive model. Next 24 children, passive model. And third 24 children, no model. Okay, divided perfectly. And this is through randomization. This is through randomization. Now, how can you create randomization? I think yesterday Nikhil was asking, sir, is there any standard technique of creating randomization? So if you study this particular chapter in any research methodology textbook, what is random sampling, systematic random sampling. So what is systematic random sampling? You take a bowl, write the names of all 72 kids, put it in the bowl and just shake it and pick first 24. So when you pick the first 24, that is your aggressive model. Then you pick out the next 24, that is your non-aggressive model, and the remaining is the control. So you can have a lottery system, and then you can select 24, 24, 24. So when you do this way, when you do things in this way, automatically you are following a random sampling. You are following a random sampling. But now the question is, you have rated kids on anxiety score, and you have to ensure that in all the three groups there are kids who are already having anxiety. You have to accordingly distribute kids who are already higher aggression in all the three groups, so that by chance it should not happen that all kids who are having anxiety related to aggression, they are in one particular group. Then in that case your result will not be taken seriously. So your results will get biased because already the kids are aggressive. Okay. Now next, again this 24 children you divided into two. So 24 was divided, 12 children male model and 12 children they are made to see female model. Yes. So out of 24, 12 children or 12 subject will see male model, 12 subject will see female model. Similarly here also same criteria, 12 children male model, 12 children female model. Okay. And next again now you bifurcate. Out of 12, 6 female, 6 male, 6 female, 6 male. See how you are doing it scientifically. So if Mansi wants to do experimental research, you should be very careful that how is she going to assign subjects to various groups. So how she is going to break it. And here also 6 female, 6 male, 6 female, 6 male. Okay. Now can you tell me why this bifurcation 6 male and 6 female? Straight away make 12 children see the male model. Now here, okay, anybody wants to speak? Why this further division?
So because we wanted to check an interaction that how children will react based on a male or a female.
Yeah. So here you want to, very good, very good. What's your good name? What's your good name?
Sunanjita.
Sunanjita. Thank you, Sunanjita, for participating. So now you will ensure that 6 female child or 6 female subject are made to see male model, and 6 male model are made to see or 6 male subjects are made to see the aggressive model. Now what's the intuition? What's the intuition or what's the prediction? So female, if they watch male aggressive model, they will not be that aggressive. But if a male is going to watch a male aggressive model, he will be more aggressive. Similarly, if if a female subject watches a female aggressive model, then the likelihood of aggression increases. But if a male watches a female aggressive model, he may not behave aggressively. So the impact of the gender of the model will have an impact on the subject according to the gender. So that is essentially the idea. Similarly here also. Okay. Now let's focus. So how many variables are there in this study? Any guesses? How many variables are there in the study? Hello, hello. How many variables are there in the study? Any idea? So there are 3 variables. Let's focus. So which is the first independent variable? Type of role model. Aggressive, passive, no role model. So this is your first independent variable. Okay. Which is your second independent variable? Gender of role model. Hope it is making sense. Hope it is making sense. Please be glued to the screen. Now this is the breakup which has been given to you. In order, now whenever you read paper, whenever you analyze paper, yes, you should always create such kind of structures, so that ultimately you get an idea or you get a notion as to how you should go with your experimental design. And third is gender of subjects. So this particular experiment has 3 hypotheses. You are testing the impact of the aggression of the role model on the aggression of kids, which is your first hypothesis. Second, you are seeing the impact of the aggression according to the sexes of the model. And third, you are checking the impact of the gender subject on aggression. So this research essentially covers 3 hypotheses. Hope this slide is making sense to all of you. Hello, hello, hello. Hope.
Sir, will we
Yes, sir.
consider these gender roles as moderators only or not?
Pardon, I'm not getting you. Please go ahead. Please repeat it.
So will we consider gender in this scenario as moderators or just independent variables?
No, we are
I'm
considering
getting
them as
confused.
independent. We are modeling them as independent variable. We are not seeing them as moderator.
Okay.
If you go through this paper, it is seen as an independent variable. Okay. By the way,
Okay, got it.
moderator itself is an independent variable. Okay.
So one question I have.
Yeah.
The question is, all these 72 children, the bunch of 72 children, they were already rated on the aggression scales.
Okay.
Okay, if that is so, if that is number one, it is a preset because I think it was rated. If that is so, how it has been ensured that further when you form 3 groups
Further.
of you have 72 children who are already rated on their aggression,
Yes.
number one.
Huh.
Number two, out of the 72 children, there were 3 groups formed of 24, 24, 24.
Okay. Yes.
Now, how it has been ensured that in the first, second, and the third group, through randomization, you achieve a parity?
See, I think your question is related to kids who are high on anxiety scores and how you distribute them across 3 groups. Yes, am I correct?
Yeah, because it is through randomization. How do you ensure through randomization?
Randomization means, let's say you have a bracket. Let's say kids who are having an aggressive anxiety above, let's say 5. So above 5, it means they have high aggression, and let's say between, let's say 3 to 3-4 के आसपास, this is medium aggression, and below 2 low aggression. So first let's say out of 72 you came to know that let's say 20 kids are having aggression anxiety. So these 20 kids you distribute homogeneously across groups.
Okay.
Again, you can have a lottery system, or you can allocate it
Okay.
to every group. Randomization is simply by lottery method, sir.
Okay, right.
And
Got the
again, if
point.
you read this paper, the authors are not talking about how did they create randomization as far as distribution of those aggressive kids are concerned. They are not talking about it.
Okay, fine. Yeah, and
Yes.
sir, what is the setup of this third, the control group of 24 children? It has the same setup of 12 males and 12 females.
Uh, which one? Yeah, yeah.
The
See,
control group.
so
The control group.
see control group again. Uh, See, control group has 24 kids, and again
Yeah.
it has 12 male and 12 female. Yes, you are
Okay,
right.
fine.
Yes, you are right.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Now, now see how this experiment went about it. So every subject was brought individually by the experimenter to the experimental room. Yes. So one kid at a time. So kid was brought to the experiment. Straight away, it was not brought to the experimental room. So after seating the child at a small table, the experimenter demonstrated how the subject could design pictures with potato prints and picture stickers. So every kid was brought to the experimental room, and then they were taught how to play with those things which were there, like potato prints and picture stickers. So lot many this toys and playthings were there. So every kid was taught how to play it. So once the subject was settled, once the kid was settled, the experimenter escorted the model to the opposite corner of the room, and which contained a small table and chair, a Tinker toy set, a mallet, and a 5-foot inflated Bobo doll. So first kid was brought, and kid was taught how to play with simple materials like potato prints and picture stickers. Yes, and suddenly the experimenter brings the model, and the model is taken to the extreme end of the room, and there lot many toys are there, and out of all those toys you can see the Bobo doll, and also there is the mallet माने हथौड़ा जैसा कुछ होता है ना, hammer kind of thing, a wooden hammer which can be used for hitting and hitting के लिए जिसको use करते हैं. That's now the experimenter explained that these were the materials provided for the model to play with, and after the model was seated, the experimenter left the experimental. So now here you can see that in the experimental room only two people are there. One is the subject and second is the model. Okay, and the experimenter is not there in the
अरे
room.
एक मैं काम करना थोड़ा सा
Okay,
इकडे
please
टू
mute
ड्रिंक
yourself. Please mute yourself.
अर्धा कप चहा दे हे जरा विसर जरा एक ना ऐक पूर्ण अर्धा कप चहा दे
Hello, please mute yourself. Hello,
मला
please mute
दोन
yourself.
तेवढे दोन्ही तेवढे जरा मिक्स करून दे दोन
Okay, so you can unmute whenever you want. You can unmute. Yeah. Okay. Hope the screen is visible. Sunanjita, screen is visible. Sushil.
Yes,
Hello.
sir.
Okay. Okay. So the experimenter is not there in the room. The experimenter came, explained to the kid, explained to the model, and the experimenter left. So only two people are there in the room. Okay. So with subjects in the non-aggressive condition, the model assembled the Tinker toys in a quite subdued manner, totally ignoring the Bobo doll. So there are three experimental group: aggressive condition, non-aggressive condition. So in non-aggressive condition, which is the second group, the model is behaving in a very subdued manner. He's playing just with the Tinker toys and not behaving in an aggressive way. Okay. Now, in contrast with subjects in the aggressive condition, the model began with assembling the Tinker toys, but after approximately a minute, the model turned to the Bobo doll and spent the remainder of the period aggressing towards it. Now, you can just imagine the model in the first room. Initially, it played with the Tinker toys and later it became aggressive. And for the next 10 minutes, the model was behaving very aggressively towards the Bobo doll. Now, the question is, how much should be the level of aggression? Now, and this level of aggression should be balanced across all 24 kids which are witnessing aggression in the first group. Now, let's say if now this is the treatment, the level of treatment, yes, should be homogeneous for all 24 kids which are there in the first group. Getting? And the level of treatment which is there for the second group, again, which is an experimental group, there the nature of passivity should also be the same. So if by mistake or if by accident, if you vary the level of aggression, then accordingly the level of imitation also would get varied. That's why the instruction to the model was very clear that in the first group, initially you will be non-aggressive, but slowly for the rest of the time, and the time period starts now, you will behave in an aggressive way similarly for all 24 kids. So now when mistake happens in the intervention, definitely your results would be biased, and there will be question mark to your results. So please bear this in mind, that whenever you bring the intervention, everything should be planned and it should be homogeneous for all the members which are there in that experimental group. Just bear this in mind. Okay. Now, now when can you say? See, the author wants to study whether kids are imitating aggression or not. Whether kids or subjects are imitating aggression or not. So when can you say that kids have imitated aggression? When they actually they copy the model in a very homogeneous way. Now we all have read about the monkey and the and a cap seller in our school days. So I'm sure that you read the story in your school days. So there was one cap seller. He was selling cap. He used to sell cap. So one day it was an afternoon time, and the cap seller slept beneath a tree, and there were lot many monkeys on the tree. So monkeys came down and took away all the caps of the cap seller, and they went onto the tree, and they wore that cap because the cap seller had worn the cap. Now here you see monkeys are imitating the cap seller. The cap seller had a cap on his head, so monkeys also wore that cap on their head. Now cap seller gets up and he finds that all the caps are missing. He gets shocked. He looks up at the tree and he finds that, okay, every monkey is wearing my cap. The cap seller gets confused how to get my cap back. So what the cap seller did, he took out his cap and threw it on the floor. So the moment the cap seller threw his cap on the floor, all the monkeys which were there on the tree, even they threw the cap on the floor. And this cap seller assembled all the caps and he walks away. So now here is the story where monkeys are exactly imitating how the cap seller behaves. Now, do you think kids will exactly behave how the model is behaving? See, it can so happen that the model is behaving aggressively. Now, the kids can copy the exact behavior, or they can copy a derivative of that behavior. Means kid would still behave aggressively, but the level of aggression in the kids will be very different. But the level of aggression would be very different. Now this experiment is planned so systematically, and trust me, participants, this experiment the authors would have really gone for 2 or 3 pre-tests. Would have gone for 2 or 3 pre-tests, and then only they would have got to know that how many replications of aggression kids would factor. It's a very interesting experiment. That's why after this experiment, Bandura became world famous as far as in the field of psychology is concerned, because so systematically this experiment is planned, and you can't question the methodology of this particular experiment because it is so scientifically planned. Let's go ahead. Now let's now see, you can say that people have imitated aggression when they have seen aggression. So now what kind of aggression you are ensuring that the kids should see, because aggression is your treatment variable. So now what kind of aggression the model is demonstrating before the kid, and the model has also to ensure that the kid is watching it. If the model is behaving aggressively and the kid is not watching it, then learning will not take place. So now see, what were the acts of aggression? Now the model exhibited distinctive aggressive acts, both physical and verbal. So physical and verbal aggression was there. Like the model sat on the nose of sat on the bobo doll, and it start punching the nose. Now how many punches, even that is fixed. If you are punching, for the first kid you are punching 5 times, for the second kid also you should punch 5 times, for the third kid also 5 times, so on and so forth. So the model sat on the kid, sat on the bobo doll, sorry, not kid. The model sat on the bobo doll and punched it repeatedly in the nose. Picked up the mallet and struck the doll on the head. Mallet mane hathoda uthaya and it struck the doll on the head. Third, tossed the doll up in the air aggressively and kicked it about the room. So it tossed the doll, threw the doll and kicked it. Laat se mara. So these are all physical acts. These are all physical acts of aggression which the model is performing towards the Bobo doll. Now this sequence of physical aggressive acts was repeated approximately 3 times. So you are doing this 3 times, interspersed with verbally aggressive response such as. So along with physical violence, in between you are also giving verbal, you are also demonstrating verbal violence. Now what could be the verbal violence? See, sock him in the nose, hit him down, throw him in the air, kick him, pow. So these words were uttered by the model. So the aggressive model uttered these words along with displaying the aggression. It uttered these words as well. And 2 non-aggressive comments. See, non-aggressive comments. He keeps coming back for more, and he sure is a tough fella. Is a tough fellow means, you see. So there are 2 acts of aggression: physical aggression, verbal aggression, and there are 2 non-aggressive comments. ये वापस आने लगता है, ये बहुत tough person है, ऐसे सब. See, these are the interventions which are shown. So you can say that the kids have learned aggression if they behave in a similar manner how the model have behaved. But do you think humans are going to behave exactly how monkeys are going to behave? No. Now kids will learn aggression, but they will demonstrate it according to their understanding. Don't you feel so? See, a monkey can replicate human as it is, but a child who has his own way of behaving, it may or may not behave in a similar fashion. There could be a variance, but still this variance is because the kid has observed the act of aggression. Just bear this in mind. Just bear this in mind. Okay, let's see. So at the end of 10 minutes, the experimenter entered the room. So later 10 minutes, when the acts of aggression got over, again the experimenter comes back. He informs the subjects, and that we will go to the new room, and the model is told to go. And the model is told to go. Next, now prior to the test of imitation, however, all subjects, experimental and control, were subject to mild aggression, arousal, to ensure that they were under same degree of instigation to aggression. Now, friends, please remember, now there are 3 places in which this experiment was planned out. First, in the experimental room, the kids were shown aggression. Then second, kids were taken to some other place where there were many toys, and the kids were asked to play with those toys. And third, the kid was taken to again to the new setting. And in the third setting, there was no model. Now the question is, from first experimental room to the second room, yes, in the second room, all subjects, that is 72 kids, their aggression was aroused. Everybody's aggression was aroused. सबको ऐसा गुस्सा दिलाया गया था. All 72 kids in the second room, before the final experimental room, their aggression was aroused. Now the question is, why were their aggression aroused, irrespective of which group the kid belonged? And remember, all this experiment happened one at a time. This experiment was repeated 72 times for 72 kids. Now see, it can so happen. Now why this aggression arousal took place? Now let's say if a kid is seeing aggression, automatically his aggression would be subdued. Don't you feel so? If you are focusing an aggressive person, or if you see an aggressive person, it can so happen that after observing an act of aggression, your aggression would come down. Okay, your aggression would come down. So it was ensured that some sort of aggression should be aroused in every kid. So now what method did they follow in order to arouse the aggression of all the kids? So let me go back. See, in the second room, all the kids were taken to some another room, and there they were made to play with the choices of toys. उनको बहुत अच्छे toys दिए गए थे. And the second room was excellent room, and the kids started loving the toys which was there in the second room. And suddenly the experimenter comes and tells, okay boys, okay boy, come out from here. This room is not meant for you. These toys are not meant for you. They are meant for special children, and you are not special. Come out from here. So in the second room the kids were given choices of toys to play, and later suddenly they were withdrawn. मतलब बच्चे को गुस्सा आएगा कि अरे बाबा मैं इतना अच्छा टॉयज मेरे को दिया गया था, and suddenly I am withdrawn. So second room aggression was aroused of every kid, and later the kid were taken to the third experimental room, and there the model is not there, Bobo doll is there, and all other toys are there. And now you will see the behavior of the kids, whether they are behaving in an aggressive or a non-aggressive way. And again, in the third room, the experimental remained in the room during the experimental session. You remember in the first experiment condition, the experimenter was not there. He gave the instruction to the kid, he gave the instruction to the model, and he went out. And later he came out and took the kid to the second room. And in the second room, again he aroused the aggression of the kid, and she took the kid to the third experimental room, and there she was there with the kid, but she withdrew herself, and she went to the corner of the room, and she demonstrated that she is busy in something, and she made her presence negligible. Okay, and see now what happened. The experimental room contained a variety of toys, including some that could be used in imitative or non-imitative aggression. The aggressive toys included a 3-foot Bobo doll, mallet, and all those things were there. And the non-aggressive toys, on the other hand, so there were not many aggressive toys like Bobo doll and 2 dart guns, mallet. So third experimental room, lot of aggressive materials were there, and non-aggressive toys were there. Okay, and in the third room they are going to see the behavior of kids, whether they are behaving aggressively or not. Okay, so that was essentially the idea. So just go through it. The subject spent 20 minutes in the experimental room, during which time his behavior was rated in terms of predetermined response categories. So in the third room, judges were there. So judges were there in the adjoining room, and there was a mirror, one-way mirror. Means judges can see the kid, but the kid could not see the judge. So 20 minutes was given to each kid. Bobo doll was there. Lot many toys were there, aggressive and non-aggressive toys were there. And secretively, the judges, so there were 2 judges who started observing the aggression of the behavior on a predetermined scale. So scale was given, and they started observing and taking the behavior of the kids in the experimental room. So this is how recording was done. Okay. Now later on, so 2 judges rated the aggression and the non-aggressive behavior of the kids, and when Cronbach alpha was calculated, inter-item consistency, so it was a very decent 0.90 rating. It was a decent rating. So both the judges, they recorded the aggression and the non-aggression in the kids in almost similar fashion. Now sometime it could so happen that one judge is able to see aggression and the other judge is not able to see aggression. So if such thing happens, then maybe there are measurement issues. So in order to avoid measurement issues, 2 judges rated all the 72 kids. And later when their reliability was computed, the reliability was decent, showing that there are no measurement issues as far as rating the aggressive and non-aggressive behaviors of the kids were concerned in all the 3 groups. Okay. So now response measure. Now just pay attention. This is something very important. So full imitative behavior. Full imitative behavior means kids exactly replicated the behavior of the model. So imitation of physical aggression, imitation of verbal aggression, and imitative non-aggressive verbal responses. Now just remember, the model, it behaved in 3 different ways. The model demonstrated physical aggression, yes, hitting, kicking, using mallet. The model demonstrated verbal aggression, hit him, kick him, sock him, all those things. And the model imitated non-aggressive verbal response. He is a tough fella, he keeps coming back. So full imitative behavior of the kids was assessed. Then partially imitative behavior. Now again, this is important. Now a kid will not replicate the exact behavior of the model, but partially he may imitate aggression. And here, mallet aggression means subjects strike objects other than Bobo doll, aggressive with the mallet. Now the kid may pick mallet, but it may not hit the Bobo doll, but it may hit some other thing. But again, still it is an act of aggression, because mallet was used by the model. So if the kid is using if the kid is using the mallet, but not against the Bobo doll, but against something else, but still it is an aggression, but partially imitative behavior. And the kid sits on the Bobo doll. Subject lays the Bobo doll on its side and sits on it, but does not aggress toward it. Now it can so happen that kid may play with the Bobo doll, keep it next to it, but not hit it. But again, this is partially imitative behavior, because the model kept the Bobo doll down, sat on it, and hit on the nose. Now the kid might not hit the Bobo doll similar to the model, but still it is an act of aggression, because the kid made the Bobo doll fall on the floor, or it floored the Bobo doll. So again, that will be considered as an act of aggression. Accordingly, ratings will be assigned by the judges who are seated on the opposite side. Okay. And lastly, there were certain behaviors which are non-imitative behavior. Non-imitative behavior means, now kids demonstrated this behavior on their own. So here, it punches Bobo doll, subject strikes, slaps, or pushes the Bobo doll aggressively. But still aggression is shown. Still aggression is shown. The kid is treating the Bobo doll according to his style, not as per the style of the model. And these are and then there were non-imitative physical and verbal aggression. The kid is attacking the Bobo doll in his own way, and the kid is using some different abuses, not the abuses which the model was giving. So these were three kinds of response measures which were rated by the judges, and accordingly comparison was made between the three groups: aggressive group, non-aggressive group, and the control group. So this is how you recorded the aggression in the kids in all three groups. Okay. Yes. Now it can so happen in the control group also, kid might behave aggressively. Control group, where there is no exposure to the model, but the kid might use the mallet and hit something, because anyhow in the second stage you have aroused aggression in all the three groups. It can so happen. Now a kid may play aggressively with the gun also. Yes. So these are all acts of aggression. Now what is the result? See the result. Hello.
Yes, sir.
By looking at this table, can you say that there is an effect of or the aggressive behavior of the model has an impact on the aggressive behavior of subject? Can you say by looking at this table? See this table again. Just focus on the response category. This is 6 female, 6 male, 6 female, 6 male, 6 male, all these things. So in Excel, you have to devise everything in a very systematic way, because this Excel you are going to use it to run ANOVA or repeated measures ANOVA or Friedman test or whatever parametric test it is there. By the way, tomorrow I have devoted entire session to make you understand statistics using R. Now just focus, let us focus on 5 response categories. So there are 5 response categories which are marked in blue. So imitative physical aggression, imitative verbal aggression, mallet aggression, punches Bobo doll, non-imitative aggression, aggressive gun playing. These are all acts of aggression. Some imitative, some non-imitative. Now in the top column you have aggressive group, non-aggressive group, and the control group. Let's focus on the aggressive group participants. So female model, when kids were made to see the female model, see what is the aggression in female, 5.5, and what is the aggression in male, 12.5. When they saw the male model, the aggression in female is 7.2 and the aggression in male is 25.2. See, now here is the difference, here is the catch. See, when male kids, let me use this thing, all of you just pay attention. Where here can you see? Focus here. So when the model happens to be male subjects imitate, imitate the male model. So their aggression is more. But when the model is female, the act of aggression is less. So can you say gender has an impact, or the gender of the model has an impact on the aggression level of the subject? Yes, to a certain extent. And again, focus on the non-aggressive. See here, aggression is very less. Aggression is not there. Control group also aggression is not there. Can you see? Control group aggression is not there. So aggression here, you can see maximum aggression is there. See, maximum aggression is there. Hope I should erase all these things. Can I able to discard? Just a second. Just a second. Just a second. Okay. 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 So here, if you focus, there is an aggressive group. Let me go slow so that we can see individual. Focus on the aggressive group. Yes. Okay. Female subjects, female model, female subject. This is the aggression. Male model, male aggression. This is the aggression. So here aggression you can see more, and here you can see aggression less. So gender has an impact, that you can say, but test statistics will say. So verbal imitative aggression. You see female, when females are made to see female aggressive model, they are more aggressive. Yes, boys are less verbally aggressive, but female are more verbally aggressive. And here again, boys, when a female subject sees a male model, she is less aggressive, but a boy is more aggressive in after seeing the male model. Now mallet aggression. See the mallet aggression. Mallet aggression is common here. Here also it is almost same. Here also, but here you see mallet aggression is more. For male model, the mallet aggression is more. Yes, and for punches, bobo doll. So boys are punching, even if they have a female model, boys are punching bobo doll more, and here punching is slightly not that high. Okay, and non-imitative aggression, here you see boys are showing more non-imitative aggression. Yes, uh, in male model, see you have to track every column, every column. But by the way, here you can make it out that in the non-aggressive, the act of aggression is very less, except here there is more aggression. Here there is more aggression. Here there is more aggression, more aggression. So barring few, that see, even in non-aggressive group you can see aggression. Even in non-aggressive group you can see that aggression is somewhere, it is high. Here also see aggression is quite decent, more than this. So this is great. This is more. So in control group also you can see some aggression. So by looking simply at this table, you will get confused. So you require some p value, t value, so that you can make yeah, okay. Now here the authors have used non-parametric uh, test, which is Friedman Friedman two-way analysis of variance of or Friedman ANOVA. They have used it. Okay. Now here you can make it out that this is the chi-square value, this is the q stats, and this is the p value. Now it's very difficult to interpret this table. Now please understand. Let me interpret. Let's focus. So here is a two-way comparison. Here is a two-way comparison. Let's focus here, and we have a p value. P value is less than let's say 0.0 1 or let's say 0.1 or 0.5. Yeah. So aggressive versus non-aggressive, there is a significant difference. In aggressive group versus non-aggressive, there is a significant difference. It means the aggression of the model has an impact on the aggression of the kids. Yes, and aggressive versus control, again there is a difference. Between aggressive group and control group, again there is a difference. There is more aggression in that particular group where kids are made to see aggression. Then non-aggressive versus control. Non-aggressive versus control, here there is not much difference. So looking at these three tables, here you can see there is a significant difference. It means aggression is more in the experimental group, particularly where aggressive models are there compared to control and compared to all those things. Similarly, focus on the verbal aggression part. Verbal aggression part. Between aggressive and non-aggressive, there is a difference. So definitely aggression has an impact. Here again, there is a difference in aggressive and control group also. So difference should be there in this group and this group. So you are comparing aggressive with non-aggressive, aggressive with control, and non-aggressive and control. By the way, if I tell you to compare, let's say you have three fruits: apple, mango, and grapes. So how many combination you can have? Apple and mango, yes. Mango and grapes, and apple and grapes. You can have three comparison, no? So when you have three conditions, so total you can have two combinations, and let's compare these two combinations. Similarly, non-aggression verbal response, there is a significant difference in aggressive and non-aggressive. Again, here there is a significant difference, here there is no significant difference. It means in non-aggressive group and in control group there is no difference. वहाँ पे aggression में ज़्यादा difference नहीं है, यानी aggression same है. Aggression same है, particularly with non-aggressive responses. Particularly with non-aggressive responses, there is no significant difference in non-aggressive and control group. This is as good as t-test. ऐसा समझो आप उसको. Now focus on the partial imitation with mallet aggression. Mallet aggression में here there is a significant difference. Here there is no difference. In aggressive and control में there is no difference. And here there is a difference. Now sitting on the bobo doll, there is a difference in the aggressive and non-aggressive. Again there is not much difference. यहाँ पे difference नहीं है because this is greater than 0.05 and here there is not significant. See, this is significant at 0.10 level, but they are considering it to be significant. Forget about it. Now see here, there is a difference, not difference, no difference, and overall there is a difference. So by looking at this result, you can say that yes, kids which were made to see aggression, they behave in an aggressive manner by looking at this particular table. So you should focus on this particular table. The rest, these are all chi-square value. It will not make much sense. Just focus on this p value. Again, let me try to delete this. Just a second. So can I discard it? Yes, I'll discard it. So when you see this table or when you read this paper, all my friends, researchers, focus on, see, this table will give you slight clue, but not much. The picture will not be very clear, but you should have p value in order to make significant, and you should focus this table. Focus on this table and compare the groups. And you should focus on this individual differences which are there, and you should see this overall p value. Overall it is significant or not. So for imitative response, just focus here. For imitative response, all the p value are significant. It means kids are imitating aggression. For partial imitation also, again this is significant. Both are significant. But for non-imitative aggression, here you can see this is not significant and not significant. So here your hypothesis is partially supported. Here your hypothesis is partially supported. Just bear this in mind. Just bear this in mind. Huh? Okay. So you should focus on the p value and t value so that it makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now, so now these are the results. Just focus on the results. Quickly, let me go through the results. So complete imitation of model's behavior. Yes. So there is complete imitation, and this is coming out to be significant. So subjects in the aggression condition reproduce a good deal of physical and verbal aggressive behavior than the models in the control group and non-aggressive groups. So these are just common sense. So once you have interpreted that table, everything will become picture clear. So there is complete imitation of models behavior, and there is partial imitations of model behavior. Okay, and here you can see the analysis of variance of score based on subject mallet aggression towards subjects. So I think that table, if you interpret it, it will make a lot of sense to you. And these are just, I'm just running from that table only. So it will, okay. And these are non-imitative aggression. So non-imitative aggression, you can see the effect of condition is highly significant. However, in case of subjects, expression of non-imitative physical and verbal aggression. So the effect of condition is highly significant. And further comparison of treatment pair reveals that the main source of overall difference was the aggressive and non-aggressive groups, which differed significantly from each other, with subjects exposed to the aggressive model displaying the great amount of aggression. The crux is, or the moral of the story is, wherever aggression was there kids behave in an aggressive way. So that is essentially the idea. Okay. So, and what is the result of the influence of the sex on the model? So male model influenced the subject behavior outside the exposure setting to a great extent than the female model. So male replicated the male model in as far as aggression is concerned. Yes, so yes, sex has an impact on the aggression level, particularly with male models and male subjects behaving in a similar way. And so in the analysis of the sex interaction of the sex and the model, only the comparison involving the male model yielded significant difference. So only for male model, there was a significant difference, suggesting that yes, uh, uh, that aggression is a behavior which is more oriented toward males, and this findings is exactly in line with previous studies. Yeah, because aggression happens to be a masculine kind of a behavior, and that is true as far as the findings of the study is concerned. So similarly, subjects exposed to non-aggressive male model perform less aggressive behavior than the controls, whereas comparison involving the female model well consistently non-significant. So females aggression इतना ज़्यादा replicate नहीं हुआ था. And non-aggressive behavior, so subjects in the non-aggressive condition engage in significantly more non-aggressive play with dolls than either in the aggressive group. Means wherever non-aggressive condition was there, so kids majoritarily kids behave in a non-aggressive way. So these are all the findings. You can simply go through the paper. Yeah, okay. So I think the main thing is that you should focus on this particular. Just a second. Okay, we went far ahead. Okay. So main finding, you should look at this table. This table will speak a lot for itself. Yeah, okay. Now let me take one or two queries and yeah, hello. Let me take one or two queries. What is your thought process? What is your analysis? So I presented a case study. Hello. Yes, let's go to Atul. I think Atul is very curious. He wants to ask certain questions. Atul, unmute yourself. Come on.
Yeah, what I understand from your presentation and discussion is that the methodology is extremely important. Yeah. So
Every
methodology. Yeah, how do you set up the experiments? And maybe, as you said, it has to be pre-tested. I think these authors also would have pre-tested once, twice, or three times. Okay. So I think setting up the experiment pre-testing is much more important, because once the methodology is in place, then whatever the results are, okay, they are not questioned much.
Yeah. So methodology is very important, and not only methodology in experiments, but in other discipline also methodology has to be rigorous.
Yeah.
Particularly in experiments, you should forecast that there are a lot many variables which could have an impact. The authors went ahead and also factored the impact of the sex of the model on the sex of the subjects, and they studied the aggression. So that is something which is one of the another novelty, and their findings are in expected lines, because anyway male models are behaving in an aggressive way, and that is in line with the previous studies. Yeah.
And even I think what you also highlighted was the impact of the confounding variables.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other query? Tanya, Hardeep, Ayushi, Sushil Kumar, Sunanjita. So tomorrow you will find only 3 or 4 people will be there. So in all my workshops, initially everybody's tempo is high. On the fag end, their numbers come down. Okay. Yeah.
Sir, I had a question, but it's not directly from this presentation. Actually, while reading some experiments, I have found this idea that some kind of manipulation check is conducted. So I just wanted to know what is that and how do we integrate that in the methodology?
See, again, manipulation check. So manipulation check, first of all, here what is the variable which you have manipulated? So it is the aggression. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yes.
So manipulation check in the sense that here you tend to see. I think in this experiment they had this. If I can answer your question from this experiment, that manipulation checks, of course, they are important, and here you have a stage called aggression arousal, where all the kids' aggression is aroused.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is one way of checking the manipulation. So by the way, there are so many other methods of it, but in this experiment, that aggression arousal is a technique of checking the or it's a technique of manipulating and then later checking it. So that is one aspect of it. But again, manipulation check will differ for every experiment, Ayushi. Yeah, okay. Maybe in the coming experiment we will do it.
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? But it's a good question, Ayushi. I'll try to think upon it later and come with a more plausible answer which should convince you. Yeah, okay. So what we will do, we'll take a break. Now it is 7:33, so plus 15. So let's meet at 7:50. Let's meet at 7:50. 15 minutes break. Then again we'll take a new case study and we'll understand that how experiments are usually conducted.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.